I think that business owners in general, and I was part of a men's group at my previous church before I moved up here to Tampa Bay. And one of the things that was really important to the pastor there was empowering businesses to be leaders in the community. I personally, I don't know where you lay at, but I just don't really feel like typically the government has our best interests in mind. But I do think that's an opportunity for business owners to come in and say, "Hey, I'm going to help like in your point, the children, the schools, the families locally." And it's I think it's underappreciated the role that business owners play. Are you part of many business groups or church groups that really focus on that?
Yes, 100%, Mark. I'm very dedicated to my church and groups around that, and even schools. Actually, I was just having a conversation yesterday with an elementary school teacher where it was my old elementary school where I'm going to have the honor to go and speak. I believe it's close to 400 children and kids, and I went to that school, and that school is actually on the other side of the tracks, which was less fortunate, and it still continues to be a lot of poverty there. So, really excited about that, and just giving back in general is something that my mom taught me, Mark, and I continue to do that, my friend.
Did you start giving back after you had grown wealth and success, or did you start before?
I started before because one of my four G's is global. So it's God, goals, grind, and then global. And what I mean by global impact is opening the door for someone, even a smile, even helping someone across the street. I mean, listen, giving back doesn't necessarily mean giving money, but to answer your question, Mark, I started giving more back when it came to a financial status when God had helped me to become and achieve a certain status. Then I gave more than only just a smile or a handshake or a pat on the back.
Yeah, well, you give what you have, I guess. There's a story in the Bible where there's an old woman who walks into the temple and she's clearly poverty stricken and she puts like a shekel into the offering. And Jesus is like, that is the greatest donation offering that I've ever seen. And I'm paraphrasing. But I think that's important. And I've started to think about this more is, you don't necessarily need to wait until you're making 100,000, a million, $10 million a year to start giving back.
And I agree with you. There's a video that I saw that resonates with me, and Donald Trump was at a service at a church. Don't know what church or type, or really doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I believe there's a God up there, right? So he reached in his pocket. There was a video on him, and he had no idea there was video in him, and it was a few dollars. I mean, you can't even tell how much money it was. It could have been 10, 20, whatever it was. But he reaches in his pocket and he counts it and discreetly folds it up in his hand and gives it as an offering. And, it made me think a little bit different about the gentleman. You hear all kinds of things out there, good and bad, and everyone needs to make up their own decision for their own selves. But I really like that. And it's actually in my book how that resonates with me because of my mom had taught me to give my tithes to the church, which I still continue. But I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for God or my mother.
Yeah, no doubt. I actually just started really donating to church regularly, and I found that the first month that I gave a generous donation, I landed two clients that same month, and it became a pretty solid month for me bringing on those two clients. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. I am curious. You're still in LA. You said you're in LA County, right?
My office is in LA County, Laverne. I travel every day. I live actually in Orange County, but yeah, we have close to 50 employees in the office at all times and close to 100 outside nationwide. So, but I make the commute. So I would say Laverne is probably about 25 minutes east of LA.
Is California still a good place to build a business? You see people like Patrick Bet David moving his whole squad out, Daily Wire moving their whole squad out. Like, can you even make a business in LA now or in California?
Mark, I'm just being really candid right now. I'm just laughing when you ask that question. I mean, it's probably crossed my mind about 20 times to get out of California. Listen, there's a way to still make business and do something in Los Angeles and California for the state, right? It's a little more difficult, I would say. And a lot of my friends have moved out of the state, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada. I mean, they're flocking out of here. But I'm still hanging on to it. I love one of the things, Mark, is I love California. I love the weather. I love the beach. I have my horses out here. It's just like I have so much in my. It's just my friends, my community. It's really hard, and I tell you what. I mean, there's not a time that crosses my mind that I'm like, I got to get out of here. Taxes are killing me, and it's really difficult to work in California. I'm a delegate. I don't know if you know that, but I'm also a delegate for the Republican Party. So I'm really in tune and involved in making things better for the business owners. It's really tough out there, but listen, I'm fighting and I'm not giving up, Mark.
I think that's great. And I mean, California should be fighting for people like you, for business owners like you to be in the state, because as you mentioned, the most impactful placard that you have was donation of time, money, energy to the children of the community, which that's the future right there, you know?
100%, Mark. That's our future. The kids are our future. Those are the ones that are going to, we're handing over the torch and taking it to the next level. So I still remember when we're talking about children and that kind of stuff right now, Mark. I remember my teacher when I was in elementary school. They would say, Moses, you could be anything you want and become anyone you want, or just keep pushing, right? And it never really hit me until I was an adult. I'm like, you know what? They were telling the truth. If I wanted to be an astronaut, firefighter, whatever I wanted to be. And people just need to hear that, and people just need encouragement. So like you said, Mark, kids are our future, man. And I'm really big and focused on that, and always have, because it takes me back. I was that kid that needed the help, or I was that kid that would take hand me downs from my own teacher in elementary school. So I never forgot that. I never forgot where I came from. So giving back to me is on top of my list.